folks, welcome back to Farming Simulator, and let's have a quick look today at the hire purchasing mod by Oz. Really cool concept, lets you finance equipment, and we'll have a look at that. And then I'm also going to have a look at some examples of where it may help you if you are a less wealthy farmer and you like to lease stuff, but you want to save some money. So let's just get into the shop and have a look at some things. Now, I'm going to use a particular tractor because it's really nice for working out examples. And that's this little Deutz. It's because once you click the engine option, it becomes £100,000. And that's really nice just for seeing how things work in terms of percentages. So if you want to hire purchase something, you press the X key, brings up this really nice interface. You can then choose a deposit amount, the length you want your hire purchase agreement to be over, and then 4 options depending on what you want the final payment fee to be, and then that all affects your monthly fees and how much you pay in total. At the end of each month, this is important for later, they take your monthly payment, and if you sell the tractor, they will take a closing balance to close out the finance. Yeah, and I guess that's it. As it says that there are a few little star options. It takes the deposit straight away, and then it takes the monthly payment at the end of each month. That's the important bit. And then, yeah, the final fee is due the month after the last payment. So if you want to change your deposit, you can. That reduces your interest rate. I hadn't messed about with that too much. Kind of interesting. Pay a bigger deposit, you pay less in total, but obviously you need more cash up front. If you change the duration, then obviously your monthly cost goes down, but you pay more in interest, between 1 and 10 years. And then to choose which option you want to purchase with, so how big you want your final payment to be, you've got the option at the bottom. So, just as an example, we'll go with all of the first options. We'll hit purchase. So £5,000 comes out of the bank straight away. If we sleep, then see it takes a payment from us for the end of the month. Wish the game would sleep a bit faster. There we go. And then if we take the tractor to the sell point, back here, and we sell the vehicle, then you'll see there is a final payment taken of £87,000 to settle our leasing. So we got only a small fraction of the money we actually got from selling the tractor because we had big outstanding finance. But if you're starting out on something like start from scratch, this is really cool because you put down a small amount, and as long as you're making money every month to make the payments, then you're going to be good. I had a couple of thoughts in mind. How does this compare to leasing a tractor long term, or leasing a bit of equipment long term? I'm going to use that tractor as an example because of the £100,000 and the percentages, but they will all apply to the same sorts of things. And the short term option. So let's jump across to PowerPoint and have a look at that. But this is a really cool mod. Really love it. It's going to be a part of my gameplay in the future. So we're going to run through a few different examples to see if hire purchase is a better option than leasing. Just as a reminder of what leasing costs, you pay an upfront 2% of the base cost. You pay 1% per month, and that's charged at the start of the month, which is different to the hire purchase, which is charged at the end of the month. If you have more days per month, that's split across the number of days per month, and then 2.1%, which is a really random number, per hour that you use the vehicle. With hire purchase, you don't pay per hour because you essentially own the vehicle. The other thing that I forgot to mention, with hire purchase, you can modify the vehicle once you've got it, whereas with leasing, you can't. So another bonus of hire purchase. But let's get into some examples of the numbers. So this is what we've just had on there for our £100,000 vehicle, just as a reminder. So for example, if you were to hire purchase this £100,000 tractor over a year with a £5,000 deposit, you're going to pay somewhere between £102,000 and £103,000 for it. So not a lot, but your monthly payments are quite large. If you spread it out, you pay a bit more. Anyway, so let's look at some examples now. I've assumed you're doing 15 hours of work per year with whatever this piece of kit is, be it a tractor, be it something else. The more work you do, the less the vehicle's going to be worth, and the more your leasing cost is going to be. I've got some better examples in a minute, but I want to show you these just to give you a feel for something. So to lease, and so that £100,000 tractor, after a year doing 15 hours work, is going to be worth about £73,000. So you're going to lose about 27 grand worth of value on the vehicle. To lease that piece of equipment and use it for 15 hours work is going to cost you £45,500, which is quite a lot. It's maybe unrealistic because you probably wouldn't keep it for a whole year and do that. I've got some better examples coming, but bear with me on this. And just to go through the numbers again for your hire purchase, you're looking, with no down payment at £8 grand a month, you pay a total of £102,000. You've got a £73,000 tractor at the end. If you chose to sell that, you'd essentially lose 29.5 grand. So cheaper than leasing still. Or you could just keep the tractor and carry on using it. So, at the other end of the scale, with the £30,000 final payment and the £5 grand deposit, your monthly payments are, so these options are all with the minimum £5,000 deposit. Should have said that. So £30,000 final payment. Your monthly repayments are now only 5.5 grand ish. You pay a total of £103,000. You pay a bit more because I guess you're paying less off of the monthly, so you're accruing more interest. And therefore it costs you a bit more because you're paying a bit more. But it still only costs you, if you did that and then sold the tractor at the end of the year, only cost you £30,000 versus the £45,000 to rent it. So still works out cheaper. Better examples coming. As I said, be patient. If we then extrapolate that to 3 years, doing 15 hours work a year, your tractor ends up worth 59 grand. You've put a bit of work into it. 15 hours might not be the right number, but bear with me, would now cost you £132,000 to lease it, so you probably wouldn't want to be doing that. And if you financed it over those 3 years, so your monthly £5 grand deposit still, your monthly payment is dropping to between £2,800 and £2,000. Depending on your final payment, you're paying between £107,000 and £109,000. So you're not paying that much in interest. And then kind of your loss in value, I guess, is between £48,000 and £50,000. But you've had 3 years worth of work out of the tractor, and you'd have that if you bought it outright, apart from the interest payment. So, you definitely wouldn't want to lease a tractor for 3 years. That's going to cost you a lot of money. And obviously a hire purchase payment is going to be cheaper per month, because if you're assuming you're doing, you've got £1,000 a month rental charge, and then it works out an hour and a bit a month, the 12 hours, or 15 hours. So you're looking at a couple of grand a month in rental fees. So yeah, hire purchase better than straight leasing. Kind of makes sense because you end up owning the tractor as well. What about short term? So this is where things get really interesting. And I've done this with a few different examples in game to get the numbers. So 3 months of leasing, doing 10 hours of work. So, intense field prep, seeding, season, whatever, with a 100 grand tractor. But obviously the percentages apply however you want to do it. In that time, with the time and the work, the tractor's going to go down in value to £91,940. So you're losing 9, let's call it 8% of the value of the tractor or piece of equipment. To lease that is going to cost you £26,000 or 26% of the cost of the equipment, because that's the nice thing about using something that costs £100,000. And then I went through and did 3 different tests. £5,000 deposit, 1 year financing, no final payment. £5,000, 1 year deposit, £30,000 final payment. £5,000 deposit, 10 years, no final payment. Obviously, the first one has the highest monthly cost. Tractor value is all the same all the way through. And then the settlement is that final figure that you have to pay off of the finance. Now, the nice thing with hire purchase is you only make 2 monthly payments because you make the monthly payment at the end of the month. So to have it for 3 months, you only make 2 monthly payments. And so to keep the tractor for 3 months, you make 2 monthly payments. You then sell it at the end of the 3rd month. And that gives you an effective leasing cost. Weirdly, I was kind of surprised actually that the 10-year finance and the 1 year finance gave me the same leasing cost of £8,490. I'm not sure how that's calculated by the game, but this is what it is. And then the one with the £30,000 final payment was £8,600 cost. So if you wanted to play this game and you wanted to minimize your outlay, you go for the lowest deposit, the longest time period, no final payment. And you're going to spend about £7,000 over the 3 months. And then when you sell the tractor, it's going to cost you a little bit to settle it because the tractor is worth less than the settlement fee or your bit of kit. Obviously, you could think about these as percentages of the value of the kit, because our bit of kit cost £100,000. So you're essentially looking at it costing you about 8.5% of the value of the kit to lease it for 3 months and do 10 hours work, which is pretty cheap. It's essentially a third of the cost of leasing it. So yeah, hire purchase is way cheaper than leasing. So if you're a poor farmer and you've got good credit, obviously it doesn't matter really, definitely think about using the hire purchase mod to save yourself some money, especially for kit that you're going to keep for a while and use for a reasonable amount of time. So that's it. Go download it. Make sure you rate it 5 stars. It's a really good mod. And enjoy. And let me know if you've got any more questions or comments, or if you enjoyed the video. And I will see you next time.